load and reload. Okay, so before I was thinking I'd each give these albums their own review, but you know what? These albums were made during the same sessions. It's basically the exact same music, so might as well just get it all out of the way in this one video here, just to get it over with. And as a result, this will be a bit of a milestone for this channel, and considering the type of album reviews I did, this will be the first time I'll be doing a double album review on camera, like with me actually talking, because I remember doing like a double album review of Deliverance and Damnation, but that was made on the computer. I used iMovie in order to just type up words on a screen. This is the first time I'm doing a double album review for you guys on the screen with you looking at me, just person to person. So there you go. So alright, after the success of the Black Album, and by success I mean monster success, this band decided to go a bit further down the road of accessibility, becoming even more accessible with their sound. Right from the get-go, right when you first start off Load, you get into this one fairly decent opener called Ain't My Bitch. Kind of cringe having to say that. It's something a 15-year-old would write. But anyway, musically speaking, it's not bad. It's kind of it's decent after all. But point is, it goes into it sets the tone for what you're about to hear with this duo of albums. You're going into like a more bluesy, hard rock sort of approach, as opposed to the straight out, just heavy metal style of the Black Album. Here you go for just, straight up hard rock approach, but just a little bit heavier, but still hard rocky. Of course, Bob Rock is still the producer for this album, and he'll remain the producer for this band's discography until Saint Anger, so he's still on board here. The production is still really good. Every instrument's still properly noticeable. Everything's still in their proper place. Although it's not as good as the Black Album because it is a bit more stripped down overall. It's not as full and clean sounding as the Black Album. Here it's a bit rawer in sound, while still good and all. Every instrument's properly placed in the mix and all that. I don't know, I prefer the cleaner sound of the Black Album. I think the Black Album definitely had just the best production overall, because this it goes into a rawer, more stripped down sound. Not that that's much of a bad thing, but just on a production level, I'd say the Black Album definitely had the cleaner sounding, more polished production. And the concept of the artwork itself is pretty fucking strange, to say the least. Okay, why the hell would they want to use blood and semen? I know that's to create an effect and all. I guess that's their attempt at trying to be all shock humory or whatever. I think that's just to try to get a shock out of the audience and stuff, which I have to admit, that's a pretty creative way of doing it. Much like the album covers for these albums, the music itself, the lyrics, and even the song titles are a bit less refined and boneheaded, to say the least. You have stuff like Ain't My Bitch or Fixer, fucking Carpe Diem Baby, so you can definitely tell that much of this stuff was probably written by their 15-year-old nephews or something. Even James Hetfield, who could still sing really good by this point. In fact, the late 90s were some pretty good years for him. Ever since they've tuned down their guitars, I think they were some of his best years, singing live at least. On these two albums, he adopts this southern redneck approach to his cadence, which, of course, they very well suit the songs that he's singing on these two albums, but at times, I think he goes a little too over the top with it, which, this is more of a nitpick than anything, but sometimes it just gets on my nerves the way he does it. Just going, yeah, wow, fail, wow, no. Yeah, again, this is just a nitpick because I'm just, basically picking up the way he sings the songs, which isn't really much of a criticism. I should be criticizing everything else about this album, but it just kind of gets on my nerves at points. But again, this is more of a nitpick than anything. If there was one major criticism that I would like to drive the point home with in this review is that these albums are way too long for what they are. They are brim to the bone with tons of mediocre ideas that really should have had a lot more care and precision taken into them. Not just any random idea that they think of and like, oh yeah, they'll put that on the album, that on the album too, and just keep going. There's no quality control here, which is very irritating. You could have just had like a CD of B-sides or something and just taken all the best songs and made them into one load album, which you know what, I'm gonna do that right now, because in fact like not every song on these two albums is bad. In fact, there's lots of really good songs on here. It's just there's a ton of really mediocre, boring ones as well. Alright, so you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna pick and choose my songs which I liked most off of these albums and just basically make my own load album. So here we go. I'm just going to list them off, maybe go into a bit more description about why I chose some of these songs later. So load, there's The House That Jack Built, Until It Sleeps, King Nothing, Hero of the Day, Bleeding Me, Mama Said, Outlaw Torn. And for the songs I liked off of Reload, there's Fuel, Devil's Dance, The Unforgiven 2, Where the Wild Things Are, and Low Man's Lyric. Now for the songs that I want removed: Ate My Bitch, 2x4, The Cure, Poor Twisted Me, Wasting My Hate, Thorn Within, and Ronnie for the Load album. Now for Reload: The Memory Remains, Better Than You, Slither, Carpe Diem Baby, Bad Seed, Prince Charming, Attitude, and Fixer. Now I kind of just want to elaborate on some of my choices. Mama Said, I would have put it in my cutoff list before if this was like 2009 or 2010, because I've definitely matured quite a bit since then, and after getting into the song, after listening to the shit before it on the album, this was actually quite refreshing to hear. So Mama Said was definitely a very refreshing song to get into off of Load. All the singles, Until It Sleeps, King Nothing, Hero of the Day, they're just really cool songs to hear. Bleeding Me is a really beautiful one as well, and I especially love the S&M versions of these songs. I think they're very, very cool to hear. Although King Nothing wasn't played at S&M, but the other songs were. It would have been interesting to see a King Nothing one, though, but I digress. Now for the songs I liked off of Reload. Fuel is a superior opener to Ate My Bitch. Sure, James goes into this kind of stupid intro where he's like, give me fuel, give me 5, give me that, which I was that. But I can kind of look past that. I mean, it's only like it's not like the majority of the song or anything. Sure, it pops up every now and then, but the rest of the song's cool. So yeah, The Devil's Dance is a really nice, kick-ass, groovy little song. I especially love the S&M version even more, but as it is on this album, it's cool too. The Unforgiven 2, which is a sequel to The Unforgiven off of the Black Album. Sure, James goes into that annoying redneck cadence, like especially during the chorus, which can get on my nerves quite a bit, but the song itself is a very nice ballad, and it kind of does the invert of what The Unforgiven did. While The Unforgiven had heavy verses, soft chorus, here it's a soft verses, heavy chorus, so that's a nice little contrast. And it even starts with the same horn intro that was on the first Unforgiven, so it's like paying homage to the first one, basically just inverting it, but still giving it its own unique flavor, which I like. So yeah, The Unforgiven 2 is really cool. Where the Wild Things Are, one of Jason Newsted's very few songwriting credits that he was actually given the chance to participate in, and he definitely makes the song shine. It's a very awesome, driving, pounding song, which if only it got a lot more attention, because it's definitely one of the highlights on this album. Low Man's Lyric, I think it has like a bagpipe or something, and it's a very somber song, which I really, really enjoy. Now, I'll probably be a bit quicker with the songs that I wanted to cut off because, well, I kind of need a cut back on time too. I'm doing the same thing that these guys were doing by overextending everything. But anyway, the some of the songs I cut off, like the rest, are just pretty forgettable, bland, stupid. The Thorn Within, I actually um, that was a song I actually liked quite a bit when I was first listening to it. Although the values kind of degraded with me over a little while, and I mean, I still kind of like it, but I wanted to save room for the better songs on the album. Ronnie, I couldn't stand this one. One of the most annoying riffs I've ever heard from this band ever concoct. My god, it's terrible. Okay, now for the songs that I don't like off of Reload. The Memory Remains, which is actually one of their more popular 90s songs. Um, my god, the song was just very bland for me, and the vocal cameo at the end really ruined things. I know it's supposed to add more of an eerie atmosphere, but no offense to Marianne Faithfull, but I did not like her performance on this. It's just her going, na 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 na. My god, that really just got on my nerves. Shut up, woman. Um, anyway, all the other songs, yeah, pretty bland and just blech. Prince Charming, like the Thorn Within from the last album. I thought this song wasn't bad, but save room for the better songs. That's about it. Attitude, I found really just annoying. A lot of these other songs are just pretty bland, forgettable, and just yeah, bleh. So I don't really care. These two albums are the greatest examples I could come up with when it comes to just showing an extreme lack of quality control when you're basically just stuffing two albums to the absolute brim, like to 80 minutes, full of any ideas that just come up off the top of your head, just anything at all, like, oh yeah, that's on the album, that's on the album, that is on the album too, oh yeah, that. Ugh, my god. Um, yeah, it's not the audience member's job in order to pick and choose their favorite songs and just leave all the other songs to basically gather dust on the digital shelf. If you're having to do that, then obviously you have a very patchy and disorganized mess on your hands. It's the job of the band members in order to choose what they feel are the best songs to be represented. Not every single song has to be on the albums. Just leave all the other ones like on a bonus CD or like a B-sides edition or something. Just take all the best songs that you have the most confidence with and just either work on the other ones some more or just again put them on like a B-sides album or something, not on like the full studio thing, because obviously these are two of the most patchy albums I've ever heard. But hey, like I said, there's still some really good material that's present on these two albums. It's just there's a lot of mediocre mire that's just clusterfucking the flow of each of these albums. You really have to swim through all this guck in order to find the diamond in the mud, or whatever the saying goes. But anyway, that's really all I have to say about these two albums. Although I don't really have enough time to get into Garage Incorporated and S&M during this discography, so I'll just go through like a brief run through of those right now. So Garage Incorporated, I think they're a bit mixed. I love the '80s covers, like the covers they did back when they were like in the 1980s and stuff like that. I'm a bit more mixed on like the newer ones, although there's some really kick-ass ones in there, like Merciful Fate, Bob Seger, and Blue Oyster Cult and stuff like that. So yeah, mixed, but there's some really good stuff there too. S&M is probably my favorite release from Metallica, period, after the Black Album. They have A Minus Human and No Leaf Clover, which are two original songs, which are great. And I love many of these versions of the songs that they've done. Like, many of these versions, I think, supersede the originals because of the addition of the orchestras. Michael Kamen is just an orchestral conducting god, so yeah, I think he definitely added a lot to these already fantastic songs. So there you go. I think S&M's awesome. Garage Incorporated still really good in its own right. So yeah, anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way, and we're about to deal with the one and only. That's right, Saint Anger.